Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we are talking about the fact that Trey Murphy III has a slight meniscus tear. It's not as bad as it sounds, but it's still not ideal. And this is an injury that you could easily overcome, I don't know if by the start of the season, but that it could potentially, we'll have more of an update as time comes out. But this is definitely something that he can overcome, and it's not going to be a season ending, especially that it's only a partial tear. So that's something that if you are a New Orleans Pelicans fan, you should be at least thankful that it's not as bad as it could have been. But obviously, it is not ideal. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think of this? And do you guys think that Trey Murphy is going to be able to play at least 60 games this year? I think he will. I think it should be good. All right. And I think it'll be more of a matter of when or if he'll have confidence in his knee. I think that's the biggest problem when you're overcoming these injuries, is just making sure you still have confidence in that leg like you did before, which I think is something that just people overlook and just don't think is like an actual factor when overcoming an injury. But Adrian Wojnarowski reported that there's a significant concern over Trey Murphy's third meniscus injury, and that he had suffered it on Tuesday during a workout, and that it's a slight tear in the meniscus, and that he'll undergo further evaluations, and we'll have an update in the next week. Now, obviously, this is not the situation that anybody wanted to hear, anybody wanted to see, but what we do know is that the meniscus is not a season-ending injury. Unless your name is James Wiseman, then I guess it is for you, because James Wiseman freaking missed so much time with his meniscus. And I definitely felt like what we've seen here is the Pelicans, they're keeping this under wraps pretty well, in my opinion. I feel like we're not hearing a single peep about this situation, which is definitely what you want from an organization. But I'm at least a bit surprised that no one has came out and, at least said that, what the results of the MRI, because it's Tuesday, the MRI has already happened. So that's something that I'll admit I'll have a bit of concern. And I hope this isn't a serious injury, because it is his left meniscus. Okay. It's not his dominant knee, but what we're trying to figure out is that if he needs, surgery. And this is a guy who looked like he could be an all-star in his second season. And a meniscus can be as short as 6 to 8 weeks. Like, this is a guy who could literally be back before the start of the NBA season. And he's a guy who averaged 14.5 points and shot 40% from three last year. It's not a guy you want missing from the lineup. It's not a guy that is, he was fifth in catch and shoot 3-point shots last season, according to Second Spectrum data. All right. And he was a guy that he increased his scoring averages last year by at least 9.1 points. So it's pretty crazy to see what Trey Murphy's been able to do and how enjoyable it is to see him work on his game and just continue to get better. But I do also know that it's probably been a bit frustrating, to say the least, for this team to see that, the guy that they're just dealing with injuries. So if I'm them, I completely understand the frustration of having to deal with more and more injuries when you're already dealing with Zion Williamson. But this is a guy that was also a most improved player of the year candidate. And for me, I just think we need to definitely keep an eye on this, because I think he has a bigger impact on this team than, like, Trey Murphy and Herb Jones are like huge building blocks for the Pelicans. And if they were to ever move on from Zion, like, that's why you could realistically, have a realistic conversation, because you have all these other players around, which they've done a great job at drafting. Let's be honest. Okay. So I'm very, very, very excited to hear and understand that this could be, something minor, but it also could be something terrible. And that's the scary part, because we don't know how bad this is, because it could sideline for the first months of the season or even the entire season if it's a surgical procedure. But if it's a non-surgical procedure and it's, not that bad of an injury, it's a significant less time that he'll miss, and it's only 6 to 8 weeks. And we obviously all know which one we want to see him back in. And if we had to talk about, who's going to be the guys that'll potentially, pick up the pieces, I think that's where it's a bit more difficult to think, as I think we already have Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado doesn't really necessarily play that position. Najee Marshall's there. And this year they drafted Jordan Hawkins. So I think we'll see a bit more Jordan Hawkins a bit earlier, whether you like that or not. But it's definitely, you sit here and you're like, okay, let's figure this out. Let's get our man let's get this information out there. I just don't like how close to the chest they're keeping this from us, because it makes me think that this could be a worse situation than it actually is. Okay. And that's why I think they need to be giving us an update on what's going on. And if we're going to be able to see Trey Murphy at the start of the season, or if he's going to be out. I think that's at least information that we should be getting. But yeah, I want to hear you guys' thoughts down below, because this is a guy who shot 40% from 3, 90% from the free throw line. He's 23 years old. He's the 17th overall pick in 2021 out of Virginia. He's a fun guy to watch, and I definitely think it's exciting to see what all is going to happen and why, because this is definitely, one of, if not the better situations for me in the NBA, regardless of what happens with Zion Williamson, the New Orleans Pelicans. That's like how good I see this team, that they're a really, really solid squad with a bright future, regardless of who is the one they're building around, Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson. So for me, that's why I think it's huge, and I think this team is fun to watch. So I want to hear your thoughts now, bro. If you guys did like this video, let me hear your opinions. And yeah, right now I think that's where we're gonna leave it. But I'm gonna peace out. So take care, guys. Au revoir. Bye-bye.